America just scored 4 goals in a World Cup game. 4. That has never happened before. Not in 1930, not in 1950, not in 1994 when the tournament was last on home soil. Never. In the entire history of the United States at the FIFA World Cup, 4 goals in one game had never been done. Until last Friday night in Los Angeles. And now every American who watched that game, and a lot of Americans who didn't, is asking the same question. Can we actually win this thing? The honest answer is complicated. The exciting answer and the honest answer are not the same answer. But by the end of this video, you will understand exactly where the USA stands, exactly what needs to happen, and exactly why this tournament is simultaneously the best chance America has ever had and still genuinely difficult. Here is exactly how it works.
Let's start with what actually happened on Friday. USA versus Paraguay, Los Angeles Stadium, in front of a sold-out crowd on American soil. The first World Cup match played in the United States in 32 years. 7 minutes in, an own goal. Paraguay's own defender, Damian Bobadilla, turned the ball into his own net under pressure from Weston McKennie's cross. 1-0, inside 7 minutes. Then, Folarin Balogun, 31st minute. Clinical finish, 2-0. Then Balogun again, 5 minutes into stoppage time, 3-0 at halftime.
Paraguay pulled one back in the 73rd minute through Julio Enciso, the one moment the defense looked uncertain. Then Giovanni Reyna, 90 minutes plus 8, a perfectly placed shot into the far corner. 4-1. Final score. The most goals the United States has ever scored in a single World Cup match, a record that stood for 96 years, gone in one night.
That's what happened. Now, let's talk about what it means. Here is how the World Cup actually works, because most people watching right now have no idea. There are 48 teams at this tournament, more than ever before in history. Those 48 teams are split into 12 groups of 4. Every team plays 3 games, once against each other team in their group. Win a game, you get 3 points. Draw a game, you get 1 point each. Lose a game, you get nothing. At the end of the group stage, the top 2 teams from each group advance automatically to the knockout rounds. And here is the new part, the part that changes everything for the USA specifically. At this World Cup, for the first time ever, the 8 best third-place teams across all 12 groups also advance. That means 32 of the 48 teams make the knockout rounds. 32. In other words, 2/3 of the entire field advances past the group stage. This is not your average World Cup. Getting out of the group has never been easier, and the USA just won their opening game by 3 goals.
Here are the numbers that matter for the USA right now. According to ESPN's data model, a projection system built by sports analytics researchers in Belgium, the United States currently has a 98% chance of advancing to the knockout rounds. 98. That number was 78% before the tournament started. 1 game. 1 4-1 win. 20 percentage points added to their knockout probability overnight. That is how much the Paraguay result mattered. But here's the thing most American fans aren't thinking about right now. Getting to the knockout rounds is not winning the World Cup. It's not even close to winning the World Cup. It's the beginning of the actual tournament. Let's be honest about something. The last time the United States won a World Cup knockout match, a single elimination match where you lose and go home, was 24 years ago. 2002. South Korea. A famous 2-0 win against Mexico known as 2-0. Since then, every time the USA has made the knockout rounds, they have lost in the round of 16. Every single time. Group stage? Fine. Round of 16. Gone. That is the ceiling the United States has been unable to break through for nearly a quarter of a century. The Paraguay win was historic. The crowd was electric. Folarin Balogun was brilliant. Christian Pulisic was dangerous. But Paraguay is ranked 62nd in the world. The teams waiting in the knockout rounds, Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, those are not Paraguay. Those are the teams that have won this tournament before, multiple times. Between them, same reward, completely different opponent. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting, and here's what most people are missing in this conversation. This World Cup, this specific edition, is the best chance the United States has ever had. Not because America's suddenly the best team in the world, because the format has changed. Think about what 32 teams advancing means. In a normal World Cup, 16 teams made the knockouts. You needed to win your group or finish second. The margin for error was small.
In this World Cup, 32 teams advance, 2/3 of the field, including the 8 best third-place teams. What that means in practice is this. The USA doesn't have to win their group to get a favorable knockout draw. They just have to advance. And once you're in the knockout rounds, Football becomes random in a way that benefits everyone equally. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in 2022. Japan beat Germany. Morocco beat Spain and Portugal and reached the semifinals. Upsets happen. They happen in every World Cup. They happen more when the pressure is high and the stakes are everything. Whether you like it or not, any team that makes the knockout rounds at this World Cup has a genuine mathematical chance, including the United States of America, playing at home.
Which brings us to Friday, June 19th, Seattle Stadium, United States versus Australia. Australia are not a small team. They beat Turkey 2-0 in their opener. Clean sheet, controlled performance. They have players who compete in Europe. They are organized, physical, and dangerous on the counterattack. This match matters for a very specific reason that goes beyond just winning or losing. If the USA win on Friday, they are almost certainly through to the knockout rounds before their final group game even kicks off. The math is simple. 6 points from 2 games in the group stage of a World Cup with 32 teams advancing is as close to a guaranteed knockout berth as football gets. And a team that enters the knockout rounds with momentum, with confidence, with a crowd behind them, is a different proposition to a team that scrapes through on the final day. The 4-1 win over Paraguay built belief.
The Australia match on Friday is about building something bigger than belief. It's about building inevitability. Because at a home World Cup, in Seattle, in front of American fans who are just beginning to understand what this sport can be, that feeling matters, more than any data model can measure. Let's talk about the players. Because most Americans watching this World Cup for the first time have no idea who these people are.
Christian Pulisic, 27 years old, AC Milan. The face of American soccer for the last decade. He has 86 caps for the United States, 33 international goals, the 5th highest score in USMNT history. Against Paraguay, he was dangerous without being dominant. His best football is still coming. Folarin Balogun, 2 goals on opening night, clinical in the box, ice cold under pressure, 24 years old. He chose to play for the United States over England, where he was born, and in one World Cup match, he showed exactly why that decision was worth making. Weston McKennie, the engine. Tyler Adams, the anchor. Giovanni Reyna, the late runner. These are not household names in America yet. But if the United States goes deep in this tournament, they will be. That's what a home World Cup does. It creates heroes from names most people couldn't spell a week ago.
So here's where we land. The USA beat Paraguay 4-1, the most goals they have ever scored in a single World Cup match. Balogun was clinical. Pulisic was dangerous. The crowd was electric. The group stage format means 32 of 48 teams advance, giving the USA a 98% chance of making the knockouts after just one game. But getting to the knockout rounds is not winning the World Cup. The USA has not won a knockout match in 24 years. That ceiling is still there.
The format change helps. The home crowd helps. The talent is the best America has ever sent to a World Cup. But the hardest part, the part nobody is talking about yet, is still ahead. The round of 16. The quarterfinals. The teams that have done this before and know exactly how it feels. Can the USA win the World Cup? The honest answer is not likely. But the exciting answer is not impossible. And in football, not impossible is enough. Not impossible is exactly where upsets live. Not impossible is exactly where legends are made. The game has not changed. You have. You now know how the group stage works. You know why 32 teams advancing changes the math for the USA. You know who Folarin Balogun is, and why 2 goals on opening night matters. You know that the history of American soccer has a wall the team has never broken through, and that Friday against Australia is the next step toward finding out if this generation is the one that finally does it. Watch the game differently now. The game has not changed. You have. You're welcome. Subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. It means a lot.